I am the coach of Team Allianz. I want to welcome everybody here and nice to see you. First, I will introduce our customer, Dr. Teliki. Thanks for joining us tonight. Then I will present you our project leader, Nitesh. Me, I'm the coach, Sammy, and our 8 developers, Amr, Johannes, Maria, Markus, Matthias, Maximilian, and Nikolaus. Now I will hand over to Markus for the presentation.
So, thank you, Sammy. So, let's dive right into it with our visionary scenario. Imagine Jane. Jane is a young woman and she has her own car. But Jane is not always happy because she has to pay a lot of money to her car insurance company. That's an issue that all young drivers have to face. They always have to pay more because it is statistically proved that young drivers cause more damages and claims than older, or let's say more experienced drivers. But then Jane switched to the Allianz insurance company, and with our new mobile application iBonus, she can track her rides. For each ride, she gets a score indicating how good her driving style was. So, with our application, we give people the opportunity to prove their good and safe driving style. As such, people with a good score do not cause as many damages and claims. Allianz can give them a discount. So, does Jane, she shows good driving behavior, gets a discount, and now is happy because she has to pay less money for her car insurance. Well, in order to build this app, we had to fulfill the following requirements. First of all, tracking and visualization. Well, the user should be able to always review all his trips so he can improve his driving style. But this is not the most important part of our application. I mean, these are things that are done in many different apps. More important was the fact that we had to care about data privacy. I mean, in order to calculate a score, we have to make sure we have to use the many data we collect during the trip. But many of these data is very sensitive, for example, the GPS location. We wanted to make sure that this data is and can only be used for the purpose of calculating the score and nothing else. Next up, trusted registration and recognition. It should be super easy for a user to start the app. I mean, no one wants to go through a long registration process or fill out long forms. It should be just as easy as downloading the app and starting right away. But on the other hand, for Allianz, it is super important to know that the one who is using the app is actually the one who is insured and that he really deserves the discount. Well, but how did we do all of that? Let me start by explaining our analysis object model. There, of course, we got a driver, same icon as before, and each driver has multiple trips. Such a trip contains some waypoints. A waypoint is basically like a GPS location and a timestamp. A trip also has some, well, we call it driving mistakes. A driving mistake is associated to some waypoints, and let me give you an example for that. For example, well, when passing by the section of this trip, you were too fast or you broke too hard. A trip also does have exactly one trip score, and this trip score is accumulated through subscores, namely an acceleration, a speed, a steering, and a braking score. We prepared a trailer for you, and we'd love to share it with you now.
Thank you, Marcus. So how did we actually build iBonus? Okay, we first started with the smartphone, which is used to track the user's sensitive information during the trip. We then want to send this data to a scoring server. But there is one problem. Some of this data is actually quite sensitive. For example, the GPS locations. And we wouldn't want that information to be misused in any way. So we had the idea to never actually store that information on the server. Moreover, we never actually tell the server who this data belongs to. The server basically just gets an anonymous set of data, scores that data, and returns the score back to the smartphone. We also wanted the user to have the ability to review his older trips. So we decided to save the trip data locally on the phone where it's private and secure. Now this is already shaping up quite nicely, but we still have one problem. We want to be able to see the user scores in order to give them the proper discounts. So we basically send the score to the driver database. Now let's take a look at how this data flows through the system by taking a look at the subsystem decomposition. During the trip, multiple data is connected, for example, the location data, acceleration data, and orientation, and packaged together into one trip object. After the trip is over, this trip object is sent to the trip manager for further processing. Now, the trip manager then does a couple of things with this. First of all, it sends a copy to the scoring server in order for a calculation to occur and a score to be returned back to the smartphone. It then saves the score with the trip object and sends the score back to the driver repository. Last but not least, this trip object is then locally saved on the user's phone. Now, please welcome to the stage Max and Nick. They've prepared a demo for you guys. We hope you enjoy it.
Oh, hey, what's up? You look frustrated.
Hey, yes, I am frustrated. Well, yesterday I received a bill from the car insurance, and it's very high, actually. I'm very frustrated about it. I've paid a lot of money.
But you're also insured at Allianz, right?
Yeah, I am. Why are you asking?
Well, Allianz made this super cool new app, iBonus. Basically tracks your GPS, and if they say you're a good driver, you will get a discount on your car insurance.
Really? That's interesting. I think I have already downloaded this application, but haven't tried yet. But wait, what do you mean by tracking? Are you going to know where I am at every time and my location exactly? Or what?
Well, while you're driving, they of course have to track your GPS data, but it's never saved outside of your phone. It's saved on your phone so you can see it later on. Outside, they will only have the scores and no GPS data of yours.
Oh, that's awesome. Then I'm going to try it later while driving home, so thanks.
Okay.
See you around.
No problem.
All right, time to go home then. Oh, I want to try this application. So, iBonus. Nice. No. Oh, it doesn't need registration. That's pretty easy. Oh. Then, let's start. Oh. So, I think this application recorded something already. Let's see. What? Only 74? Oh, that's low. Bad braking, bad steering. Well, I guess there's room for improvement then. Well.
Oh, hey,
Hey.
I thought you drove home.
Yeah, I forgot something here. I came to take it back. You know, I tried the application. You suggested me, and it's pretty nice and awesome. I mean, it's very easy to use.
Oh, great. So how did you score then?
Well, not very good. I mean, I only scored 74, but there's room for improvement. If I improve my driving behavior by the end of the month, I can get some discount on my car insurance bill. So, thanks for your suggestion.
I'm sure you're gonna get that discount.
Thanks.
So where exactly are we with the status of iBonus? Regarding tracking and visualization, we already show the trip history and we visualize the trip on a map, but we are currently working on storing the trip data and collecting the sensor information. As for the data privacy, we have already set up both servers and we are working on the communication between the server and the phone. And as for trusted recognition, we have already implemented signing up with iCloud and starting the trip using Touch ID. Now, this concludes our presentation. Thank you guys so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed it.
Hi. Yes, it was a very nice presentation. I really liked your small movie. That was quite cool. How much time do we have? 2 minutes. Okay, I would have a question that came into my mind when I heard about. Do you have an idea how much data you transfer for one trip? I know it's not a fixed sum, but how much to transfer the data from the phone to the scoring server?
So we actually still haven't implemented gathering the sensor information. We're currently still mocking the data. So we haven't an actual estimate of what's going on.
Okay. Okay, so you have to implement it, okay, because I'm quite curious how much data transfer. It depends also on the user's subscription plan, if he can do it on the flight or not, or has to go home. Okay. Okay. Thank you. I don't have other questions.
All right. Thank you very much for joining.
I thank you very much. Have fun. Bye-bye.